Hello everybody! Welcome to Agashe Review, where I review movies, dramas that you don't want to waste your time watching. I'll give you a synopsis, shorts review, along with my thoughts and opinions. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe and leave a comment below. Now let's go into the review. Hello everybody, Agashe here today. So today I'm doing a Chinese drama review. This drama is called Party A Who Lives Beside Me. It's been a while since I've done a Chinese drama review. The last time was a female student at the Imperial College. A lot of Chinese dramas, their trailers and posters and everything has dropped, but it's like they're just not coming out. Like for example, Oath of Love, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have been waiting on it. Like Sean, he's like, it's been announced like he was in this drama. He's the main guy for so long, and I think it's been like a good 3 or 4 years now, and it has not come out. And then there's Hello the Sharpshooter. I'm actually waiting for that one too, and I have not seen anything besides the trailer that came out. But yes, anyway, so much is coming out, and it's just like, you know, we're waiting for them to come out, so hopefully 2022 a lot of them will drop. But for today's drama, I'm gonna go over the cast synopsis in the first 4 episodes with you guys. So this drama has a total of 24 episodes. The air date is kind of weird, so I'm just kind of like whatever, I just watch it as it come out. But our cast is actually Sin Bingbing playing Li Xingyang, which Ahjuxue said, oh, I'm watching it because it's my boyfriend Siyang from Prince of Tennis. Like always, he always jokes about it. But and then there's Wang Jingxun as Bai Yixuan, and then Cai Guanhua as Huang Hu Yang Nan, and then Chu Ran as He Yu Cheng, obviously as Mao Tianyu, and Nikki Cheng as Li Xinshan. And there's like tons of other people, like her boss, her other co-worker, and the main guy, like his co-workers, and all these other people too. So as for the synopsis, it's a workplace romance follows Bai Yixuan, who discovers that her next door neighbor is none other than her domineering party A. She is a rugged designer who has a dream of her own to accomplish and be able to dream and design something of her own for the future, you know. She ends up meeting her next door neighbor, which is Li Jingyan, and their interaction starts with like bickering, and it ends up to being romance, typical. And unexpectedly, he makes things difficult on them, but as they go on, work becomes very difficult for them, a lot of burden, and they start to bond, and they overcome all these work crises, and they learn to lean on each other. So, recap on the first 4 episodes. The drama starts us off with Yixuan arriving in Shanghai, and she's super excited about how beautiful the city is, as like she would just imagine it. She's always seen it on TV of the big city, and she doesn't, like, she lives like in a small town village. And she's so excited, and she thought like when she arrived at her workplace, it's gonna be this big beautiful company where it's so big, just like how you would see it in movies, dramas, or in TVs, and then she's gonna get a job, she's gonna work there, she's gonna get all her dreams and everything. Well, the company that she's gonna go apply for the job is called 88ED Design Company, and they're very tiny, and they're right in front of a construction site. It's not what she expected, you know, like a big company. It's just a very tiny company. Well, she goes for an interview for an intern jobs, and all the staff there doesn't seem to care, and they're just kind of like sitting at their own desk doing their own things. And then they send her straight to the boss's office, and she gets interviewed, and she has an excellent resume from her school backgrounds and everything like that, but she just doesn't have any experience. She gets hired immediately, and her salary for being an intern for 6 months, she gets paid 4,000 yuan a month. In terms of US dollar, it's on like $600 a month. And so she gets the job immediately. Now she starts searching for an apartment. She finds a place. It's kind of old, and like there's like tons of people living in the area. Like one of the apartment has like a dozen people living in there, and the rent is so expensive. There's no connection. It's not clean. It's so dirty, but the rent is so high. She doesn't take it, and during that apartment searching, she ends up meeting Li Jinan and the neighborhood, and they don't start off well there, and then like it's just kind of like end quickly for their meeting there, and then she ends up going to the next apartment search where she finds a decent place. But there are certain rules that the landlord sets. She cannot cook spicy food, no visitors, and she must keep the place clean. She agreed to all the terms and rules and everything, but the rent has to be 4,000 yuan a month. Guess who her landlord is? It's Li Jingnan. He agrees on everything because he needs to rent out the apartment, and he actually lives across the hall. So her first day at work, she learns a lot about her workplace, that they don't go anywhere, they don't do much, they're not like big designer company, they're just small company, and so they never like, you know, compete with anybody, or you know, they just do small design for like small shops, restaurants, posters, small little neighborhood company. That's what they are, you know. And then she hears from like her other co-worker that there's Oka's director Lee, who is a designer, and he is actually one of the best, and apparently like they do a lot of like boba tea design, like the cups and posters and promotion and stuff like that, and their company 88ED can never compete with him because he's just so great. Little did she know, this director Lee is actually Li Jingnan as well, who is also her landlord, who is also her neighbor. So she does not know that he's all of them yet. So after work, she goes grocery shopping, pick up some things, and you know, she ends up running into him at the grocery stores. They fight over buying a fish, more bickering between them. She comes home and he's waiting at the elevator. They both end up on the 4th floor, and she learns that he's her neighbor across the street, and she doesn't know yet that he's the landlord, and like he doesn't believe that his friend rented out his place to her, but he's kind of like whatever. And then he has a package in front of the door. He picks it up and goes inside, and as he opens the package, it's women's lingerie, and he realizes it's sent to the wrong address. It's not his, it's hers. He tries to put the package across the street to her house to make it look like he's not a pervert, and he opened it, but she caught him, and she still called him pervert. And like as it goes, it's like the first night of her living there only, she ends up locking herself out of the house, and then she climbs over the balcony, his balcony, to get to her house. And he's like, you know, why are you doing these stuff? And he's like, you could have just asked me for a key. And she goes, why would you have a key? And he says, because I'm the landlord to your place, you know. So she learns, you know, that he's her neighbor and he's the landlord, but she doesn't learn yet that he's the director Lee. And then both of them, they like the first couple episodes, they're constantly bickering back and forth, and they don't get along. And like when he tries to help her, she misunderstands him, makes the situation worse, and they're like going back and forth. Like he thought, because there's like this thief robbery going around in some of their apartments places, and so there's been like, you know, security, double security and everything like that, and he misunderstood that one of her co-worker who came and fixed her lock was a thief, and he tried to beat up the guy, and then she ended up coming inside thinking that her co-worker got beat up by the thief, and she took the chain and hit him, and ended up being the landlord, which is the main guy, and he ended up having like this big fat bruise on his head for like a couple days, you know. So they're like constantly arguing all these things back and forth, bickering, you know. But anyways, as it goes on, she starts to struggle with her job, and she's actually very dedicated to it, and he starts to realize that she's a great designer, you know, and all these things like that, you know. And then her co-worker, who's like, she's kind of like a little bit higher, but she's like right under the boss too. They have a business proposal to Oka, and she was supposed to be a part of the presentation. She got very excited. She went and got the dress for herself for that presentation. And when Li Jinang learned that she was coming, you know, he was going to be the person who was actually going to be there at the presentation where they're going to present everything to. He got prepared to be like, okay, now she knows that I'm her landlord, and she knows that I'm her neighbor. Now she's gonna find out that I'm director Lee. And so he got excited. When he got there, she didn't show up. He learned that, you know, her her co-worker who has a higher position and was just gonna take credit for everything of her presentation, because she's just an intern. They don't need her, or they don't want her to go meet important clients and do all these important things. And like throughout it, she like messed up a lot. She dropped her USB in his car, and she didn't make it on time to one of her presentations. She got yelled a lot, and they're always making her run errands for them. And she always, when she goes to run errands or try to get something, she screws up on the way, you know. So she's just really bad at it, you know. And like all of that happens, but because she didn't get to go to do the presentation, she's sad and upset. She goes and have a couple of drinks. She ends up calling Lee Jinan over, and he takes her home, and this leads to her dreaming that of him sleeping next to her in bed. She wakes up, it's just a dream, and this is where it eventually starts. Her crush, the bickering between them kind of sort of stop. She kind of starts to see the nice side of him and how he's always teasing her just for the fun of it. And this is where she starts to develop her crush without realizing it. Like for him, I guess he just likes to have her around because he's always just by himself, you know, and it's just work. Hasn't been anything traumatizing about them. It's just hilarious stuff that happens between them. But for her, she's like really sad and she's really lonely, and because she's from a small town and she's in the big city, you know, and to have him caring for her, she's starting to develop feelings without knowing, you know. So at the end of episode 4, you kind of get the idea that her feelings is starting to develop for him. And like I did do look at some sneak peeks and stuff like that, you know. More does go on. She does get involved in his company, and from like if you watch like preview of the beginning of the drama, like, you know, the intro and the ending credits, it kind of shows some things. She is going to become successful, and so like later on, you know. So it's like she's starting to now, like episode 5 as it goes on, she starts to get into that business of being successful, and like, and makes basically her workplace, they're not so great, but she doesn't want to leave them behind because that's actually where she started her first experience. So in a way, she's bringing them with her too, where they're gonna, even though she's become successful, she's going to take them, and like they're going to go and do better designing out there. So it's just a lot of designing workplace that they're doing. But so far it's just simple, a very, very simple drama, and not a lot of crazy drama going on. It's just typical workplace stuff that you would get. They go through like workplace crisis, problem solving and stuff like that, and the love relationship between them. It's like it's there, you know, you're gonna know that it's there, but they're like very appreciative of like, oh, you know, we care for each other, but you know, your workplace has been important, I'm gonna help you. And it's more like that, like they're caring adult in a way. But yeah, that's what it is. But her age is young. Like she started off, she's like, oh, I'm 23, graduated, I'm gonna go to the big city. So her character's age is pretty young, so his character age is probably like 25, 26. So they play really young people characters in here. But yeah, that's the first 4 episodes of Party A Who Lives Besides Me. I'm gonna let it sit before I watch it. It's like, I think it's up to like episode 14 right now, or like it's like subtitled to like around there. So I've only been able to watch the first 4 episodes. It's holiday season, tons of things going on, so I'm just trying to watch as much as I can. There's another Chinese drama that I'm kind of looking forward to see if I'm gonna watch it or not. It's called Lie to Love. So people say it's really good, but I really like Leo, but the girl, I'm kind of iffy on her because I didn't like her in one of the other drama, or it's just probably the drama wasn't good, so I wasn't like a big fan of it. But we'll see. But it's been a while watching Chinese drama again. Hopefully more of them will come out as the new year comes out. But yeah, that's it for today's drama, and I will see you guys next time.